Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss, Pauly Howard. We are live in downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort Casino. This show was presented by DraftKings, and we have a 3-hour scorcher lined up today. Brett McMurphy in 45 minutes based on the news that we got yesterday in college football. It snowed today on the way in Las Vegas. It snowed on the way in. That's not even close to as shocking anymore as what happened yesterday.
Yeah.
To most people across the country.
Poor Pete Carroll. Rough day to get moved upstairs, take an advisor role.
Both guys, same day, each guy. How about this? They're both 72. Belichick's only 71. I can't believe that. Like, it feels like Saban and Carroll could run a mile, no problem, and you'd be like, hey, guys, let's go have a drink afterwards.
Right. Imagine if Kraft, if that decision would have come down yesterday, that would have been an all-timer if that would have happened. But this was, you're right, he was asked so many times, is this it? Asked about retirement. I just saw him do an interview a week ago where Saban said, I'd come back and ask the kids, how are you going to be here all 3-4 years? I mean, I plan on being here. And then whether he changed his mind or something happened, this is wild, and I can tell you right now, I don't want that job. You cannot replace a legend because the fan base is spoiled. He's the best of all time. It finally happened. The run's over. Think about how bad Alabama was before he got there. Mike Shula and what was going on. But that fan base, they're lunatics. And now this is, if you don't win 11 games every year, it's like, what's wrong? What are you doing?
Nick Saban turned them into lunatics.
Good point.
Because, again...
okay, a little bit. Remember the Mike Shula, though.
Oh, no, I understand this, but he took him to a brand new level.
Well, no, but it was still all about football. He was in the communion line at church, and they asked him for his autograph. Remember that? He's getting communion at church, and they're handing him footballs. Hey, can you give me your autograph? So that just shows you.
But there's insane, and then there's this level of insane. And I saw a breakdown of what he's been worth. If you like really dig into it, and I saw this tweet, it took off yesterday. Out-of-state tuition is 3 times as much it is for in-state. And the amount of out-of-state students that enrolled at Alabama since his time, it went from 40,000 as an enrollment to it was previously 25,000. He's responsible for bringing in more than $1 billion simply in tuition.
Yeah.
So forget about everything else. That's just tuition from kids going to Alabama because he was there. Paul, that was Michael Jordan retiring yesterday as a college football coach. That was Tom Brady retiring yesterday. But here's what was so refreshing about it. It came out of nowhere, and none of this Coach K crap with the retirement tour. I need a parade. I need the gifts. I need all the attention. None of that. And I guess the reason why it wasn't like a 10 out of 10 level for me where I was shocked, I did see some internet conjecture, Twitter speculation, call it what you will, before and during the Rose Bowl. So people were throwing it out there like, if this is Saban's last go-around, if this, if that. But you're exactly spot on. Who in the right? Dan Lanning was the number one guy that was thrown out by everybody because of the ties there. He's done a really good job at Oregon so far. Lanning would be out of his mind to leave Oregon and all that Nike money and what he can do and accomplish with the Ducks. Don't do that. You want to be the guy who follows Nick Saban. Whoever follows Nick Saban, unless somehow they pull a miracle and get like Urban Meyer to come out of retirement, it's not going to go well for the next person. This is like John Stockton following Vince Carter in a dunk contest. It's over with, right? You can't do it.
I give the guy over under 2.5 years, the next coach.
I think that's fair.
Yep.
James Franklin's name is out there.
Now, come on. How does this happen every single time? All you have to do is read the comments. Where the best tweet was a Penn State fan saying Penn State should pay him to leave. I mean, I would love to see him go. How does this guy wind up on every list? He's average at best. He loses every big game he's ever coached.
You know what that is?
Every time he plays a top 5 or top 10 team, not only does he lose, he gets embarrassed.
Right. I think some of the names that were thrown out there, it was just lazy yesterday from some of the reporters.
He's every single one. No, he's on every one, though. Every time there's an opening. I mean, it's lunacy. Yeah. Lanning, obviously, and the connections to Alabama. He was there on Saban's staff years ago. DeBoer comes... Now, we're going to do this again, too. There was a report in Eugene, and there was also reports that Dan Lanning was already in Tuscaloosa. Apparently that's been debunked. Who knows? But now we're going to do this crap again. Now, his buyout's $20 million, which I guess is a rounding error at Alabama and for the boosters. But he's $1.15 at one book now. He's as low as $1.15 to be the next Alabama coach. You also have, and I saw the chants and what they were doing yesterday on campus in Tuscaloosa with "We don't want Dabo." Oh, you're exactly right. You don't want that guy. Now,
Pauly,
four years ago was a slam dunk.
Pauly, we have breaking news. We have breaking news this morning. So yesterday, this offseason has been absolutely bonkers. All this stuff about Saban can't even last 24 hours. Moments ago, Adam Schefter just tweeted out, and yes, this is Adam Schefter's Twitter account, 10.6 million followers, so it's not a fake account. Bill Belichick and the Patriots are expected to part ways today. Oh, my God.
You plan a show.
This is already, the national title game was Monday night. It was the last regular season on Sunday, last game of the regular season on Sunday. This is already the wildest 72 hours of an offseason that I could ever remember. The names that have either been fired, are going to part ways, or decided to retire. This is nuts. The landscape, we knew the landscape was changing like in college next year. Well, these programs / franchises are going to have completely different looks. Saban and Carroll on the same day, not even 24 hours later, Belichick going to be gone, according to Adam Schefter.
Greatest college coach of all time, greatest NFL coach of all time.
Amazing.
To think about, they were on the same staff in Cleveland. I mean, that should have been a dynasty. Yeah. What happened? Modell? I've seen enough. I don't like it. Saban was Belichick's defensive coordinator, and then Carroll did an excellent job as well. And certainly a great coach with the run at USC and winning a Super Bowl and should have won too.
Wow!
But this is bananas. What do you you have to laugh at the Franklin thing though, right? I mean, I don't know how he winds up on every single list every time there's a big move.
If I'm a college football reporter, I would, unless Alabama itself told me we're considering James Franklin, I would exclude him from any list. That would be completely laughable and a disastrous move by Alabama.
Right. And I was saying before the breaking news, 3-4 years ago, it was probably just a formality that they would hire Dabo. Well, now you can't do that now.
I would not hire him.
No, you can't. He refuses to adapt and change, and he's stuck in the dark ages.
Sure. He doesn't want the NIL.
No.
He hates that. He hates paying players, and he hates the transfer portal.
Yeah.
Way to adapt to the times, pal.
Uh-huh.
I would not look at him either. I'd look at a younger guy. Some of these guys on the list, again, Oregon's got more money than God, and they're going to go to the Big Ten. And now with 12 teams, Oregon can make the playoff. You're going to go to Alabama with all that pressure after Nick Saban, leave Oregon. Why? What's the point?
Mm-hmm.
There is no point in him. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Would you do it if you're DeBoer?
I would not, no.
No, neither would I.
No, I would stay there and take my shots in the Big Ten. I wouldn't do it. If I'm him, I'd rather, not that I'm saying this would happen, I'd rather go to the NFL. I don't want this job, I don't want any part of this job. You can't win. You nailed it. You don't follow the legend. You follow the guy who replaces the legend.
This is going to be now.
You don't do that.
It's the same thing now in New England with this report. Again, if you're just tuning in right now, a couple minutes ago, Adam Schefter, ESPN, breaking news. Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots are expected to part ways today, 24 seasons together. So he's the best. Yeah, you're exactly right, Paul. You nailed it. He's the best NFL coach of all time. Saban's the best college coach of all time. In the span of less than a day, they're both out. So now, look at the candidates that we have available. Every single year, we're scratching our heads. Well, maybe this coordinator would be good. Maybe this recycled coach who was garbage at this stop. Belichick, I'm guessing, is going to want to continue to keep coach. Why would he not, right? He's Shula's records in distance.
Yeah, 13 or 14 more wins. 14 to pass, I think.
He can get there. There are some good job openings right now. Now these teams in the NFL have to just be, there's no sleep. I mean, it's Bill, what do you need? If you're the Chargers, are you going to go after him? What do the Raiders do?
Titans couldn't trade Vrabel now?
Yeah.
I imagine Vrabel winds up in New England. Right. But it was a horrible job by Amy Adams, in my opinion.
I would agree.
Mm-hmm.
But that seems to be the natural landing spot, I think, if they want to bring in Vrabel. Vrabel was really good in Tennessee. And then if Bill is going to continue, I know Washington, they're picking number 2 overall in the draft. He might trade up to number 1 overall.
Yeah.
I think
owner's infatuated with him,
yeah,
according to reports. Good job by Tom Curran as well, who called this a month ago. It was a done deal. Belichick wasn't coming back. So great job there.
He's 71 years old.
And now we'll see. Yeah, and now we'll see what happens in New England. I think you have to blow this up. I mean, I know we were talking to Len, who runs things here at VSiN and DraftKings. He thinks you go and be like the Carolina Panthers for a couple of years. There's no talent on offense.
Right.
There's none. Mac Jones can't play. Zappi's not the answer. Your wide receivers stink.
Defense is good.
Yeah, right. But that's going to take a long time. Now, you certainly have an owner that's sick and tired of this, which is funny because I know he's up there in age, but he made those comments about I want to win another playoff game. I want to make a run here. And this is since Tom left, does that hurt the legacy at all? Tom goes right to Tampa Bay and wins a Super Bowl.
No, I honestly, to me, I could not care less. He's the best coach of all time.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. I mean, some of the in-game stuff that he did, the way that he knew the rule book, that Ravens game always comes to mind. But how he had, if I recall correctly, an extra guy lined up, and he knew
unbalanced line.
Exactly right. And
that's when Brady told Harbaugh, no, "Look at the rule book."
Right. Uh-huh. The Harbaugh on the Ravens sideline, they were perplexed by it. This is illegal. Belichick's read the rule book, dude. Yep. No, it's not. I know the rule book. I know it better than you do. And this play worked, so don't go crying home after we beat you here in this game. So I mean, it's just. Amazing, astonishing. This does not happen every single year, folks, after a football season. The big names like this. Chargers, you're on the clock. Raiders, you're on the clock. What are you going to do? What does Harbaugh do now? Mm-hmm. Do we get news on Harbaugh by the end of the show? Oh, my goodness. We'll recap some of last night's betting action and win some, lose some next here on VSiN.
Last night? Wow, winning. Or was it a rough one?
Well, they can't all be winners, can they?
Loser! You're a loser! Pauly Howard recaps the night in sports betting in Win Some, Lose Some.
Well, it's going to be nuts if this is any indication what the college basketball season is going to look like, what's going to happen in March. Louisville 10-1 on the money line. They were a 17-point dog and beat Miami. Lafayette was plus 850, won at Colgate. Charleston Southern was 6-1 on the money line. They won. Texas San Antonio was 17-1 on the money line and lost in overtime at Memphis. That almost cashed. Kansas lost to Central Florida, was plus 270. What was the tweet? Four of the top 5 teams in the AP have lost this week to unranked teams.
Yeah, first time ever.
Oh, God. Yeah.
I think the list since last Friday is like a dozen teams to go down.
Butler plus 450 beat Marquette. St. Louis from 6 down to 3 won outright. Favorites 9-1 straight up last night in the association. You think Golden State's got problems? The Pelicans pick up to 2.5 at Golden State, 141 to 105. Kings Hornets under 235.5 down to 230, 123 to 98. Subscribe, be part of the team, VSiN.com, our radio and podcast friends. You always want to see these tweets and videos. The Bulldog jumping the gate here, and he's coming up. Okay, I'm looking at it. It's not that high. I'm not asking you for much. Okay, there he's got the little puppy as he comes in. It takes him a while to get it and figure it out. But he's just, it's like if I jump, you can't get a newspaper under my feet. But this guy comes in and he eventually nails it.
It's a pretty big wall in front of me. How am I going to scale that bad boy?
Yeah, right. Yeah, look, he's trying to assess the situation here for a couple of seconds and then hops over there. That is great. You don't see this one every day. The dog, just like a human. He's got a snack and he's got the book open and he's reading.
You're reading the comics.
Yeah, right, yeah.
He wants a good laugh to start his
this
day.
Looks interesting. He's got his paw in the treats while he's eating and reading at the same time. You notice how he's got it open like he's ready to turn the pages as well. How he's looking side to side and the eyes are checking everything out. That is fantastic. You know, Mazzulla, the head coach of the Celtics, has been ridiculed for this. As he says, his favorite movies of the town, but he watches it every day. So he was so ticked off with the last 2-minute report in the Indiana game, and he didn't want to get fined, that he said, how come no one's ever asked me what my favorite scene is in the movie The Town? And he said, I love it when Doug, after they get the big robbery at Fenway Park and he's ready to split and get out of town, leaves the note on the FBI's
For John Hamm, the FBI.
John Hamm on the windshield, and he goes, it was a simple, succinct message, which we can't say on the air, but it's, go bleep yourself. But this is, that was his favorite scene, and that was his way of getting around the last 2-minute report that came out, and it was a tough scene with how the officiating went against Boston in that game.
I watched that game last night. Great game. That would be an unbelievable NBA Finals.
Yeah.
Minnesota matches up with them well. Celtics extremely fortunate to win that game.
Oh, yeah. We'll get to that coming up. That was a fantastic game. What an organization. The Miami Heat waited until Eric Spoelstra was finished with his divorce proceedings to give him a $120 million contract extension. Pat Riley's the godfather. Oh. That's amazing. That is well done. And certainly if you've been there, you feel the man's pain, too. It's like, why do people want to get married? It's like, is this the line with Bill Burr's line? Is this the line where I line up and lose half my stuff? Mm-hmm. Okay, great.
I'm sure he had a smart enough lawyer to put in, right, like any future earnings.
That is huge.
She's not going to get any of it.
Uh-huh. Lose some. Celtics 6.5 up to 10. No Porzingis, but they win by 7 in overtime. Minnesota got there 7 hours before tip. Western Kentucky, Sam Houston over 151.5 to 156.5. It fell 152. Couple bad beats. Pete Hamill from Iowa sent this in. He said, we're really in trouble and we're hurting as a society. He was out to dinner at a supper club in Wisconsin, and he went up and asked the bartender for 3 drinks. He goes, what do I owe you? And the bartender paused and said, hold up, wait a second. And he went back and grabbed a calculator. He said, well, guy wasn't even that old. And he added 5 plus 5 plus 6. He goes, okay, you owe me $16. He was stunned.
Well, how would you not be?
I don't blame him. Yeah, I know. Absolutely. That is bananas.
That is truly a sad state of affairs.
Yes. And Nick Saban's time at Alabama ends with every single player that played 4 years for him winning at least one national title. That is insane.
I can't wrap my head around some of these numbers on him.
2 bad beats. Timberwolves money line 4-1. They were up 7 with 2:30 left. Come on, you got to win that game.
Yeah.
And the under 223. It goes over as a result of overtime. If you're looking for a betting edge throughout the NFL playoffs and Super Bowl, we have you covered. Become a VSiN Pro subscriber today. Get access to the daily best bets with the leaderboard to see who has the hot hand. The betting splits to show you where the money and bets are moving every game. Dog videos, betting systems, premium analysis. Get your first 30 days for $9.99. VSiN.com/subscribe. Sign up now.
Some of the numbers on Saban. At Alabama alone, this does not include any of his other stints, LSU, Michigan State, anywhere. 6-time national champ, 9-time SEC champ, a record of 206-29, 49 first-round picks, and the only 4 Heisman Trophy winners in the history of that program. Which I could not believe.
Unlike Dabo, he did a great job adjusting and adapting. Remember, he made those comments about, this no-spread hurry-up isn't good for the sport. And then he embraced it, and then he hired Kiffin, and then it became, remember, they were winning low-scoring games.
It was all defense and average to below average quarterback play.
McElroy, McCarron, absolutely. And then it became an aerial assault, and our wide receivers are ridiculous, and we're going to throw on you, and there's nothing you can do.
There was a long stretch with this guy as the head coach where, in fact, this goes back to like the 2 years, not that long ago, the first quarter, first half bets with Alabama, because they would just pound teams into oblivion and be up 35-3 at halftime and cash both those tickets and then take their foot off the gas in the second half. You could do it all 3 ways. It was Bama first quarter, Bama first half, and then come back and fade them in the second half.
Yeah. His teams were ranked number 1 every year but 2 at Alabama.
Well, think about
that. That's nuts. Before Alabama got there, before Saban got at Alabama, they'd only won 1 national title since 1979. Before he got to LSU and won, they hadn't won a title since 1958.
Yeah. He won 7 games his first year, and then for 16 consecutive years, that team won at least 10 games. Here were the numbers on Belichick yesterday. Belichick, Patriots, parting ways today per Adam Schefter, not even 20 minutes ago. DraftKings in certain states, you can bet on the next coach or where Belichick is going to go. Not every state, some of them. The odds movement yesterday. Chargers went from 2-1 to plus 250. The Patriots actually moved from 3-1 to plus 275. So that one's a loser. No NFL team went from 7-1 to 4-1. Titans 18 to 8-1. Are we just going to swap here? Belichick to the Titans. Vrabel to the Commanders went from 5-1 to plus 650. They did not tweet out anything on the Chargers or the Raiders. I think Chargers need to be in the top 5, don't they?
Yeah. I mean, if Harbaugh stays at Michigan, is it Belichick or Ben Johnson? I mean, you have to make a splashy hire, and Spanos has said he's going to do that. I mean, this is why do you fire him so early? I mean, obviously they quit and looked awful on national TV, but
sure,
you want to be first, and you want to have this ready to go and who your candidates are going to be. And certainly most people saw this coming in New England. So to me, it's Harbaugh, then Belichick, and then probably Ben Johnson if you're the Chargers.
I think so. I think that would make a lot. And the reason why I would say Harbaugh before Belichick is just because he's younger.
Right. I'll give you another thing, too. Why are the Bears bringing back Eberflus?
And they fired everybody else?
Harbaugh, Belichick. Right. Interesting what they said about Fields, because they just cleaned house with the offensive staff, but certainly they have a tough decision to make, and they are, yes, in a unique position. But again, I just saw C.J. Stroud carry a team to a division title, and his weapons were in and out week to week, and he didn't know who was playing, and I can't get Fields to have a winning record one year? I mean, come on. Stroud just won the division right away.
I wonder, honestly, like how much of the strong finish to the season for the Bears did that have to do with bringing him back? Is that really a good reason to bring a coach back? If you were dead set on him being gone 8 weeks ago,
right, and
then they trade for Montez Sweat, defense gets a lot better, they win a bunch of games.
Not when who's out there now. No. Now when you have Hall of Famers out here now. All-time greats.
Right, you got to be fluid with this.
Yeah.
And to not read the room or recognize what's going on across the country with all these potential coaches available at this point, you're going to say Eberflus is our guy? That they're settling again, man. You don't want to settle. Never settle.
This was the worst thing that could have happened.
Probably.
They got hot late, and they're going to run it back. Now, you're going to get a haul if you decide to move the pick, but still. Then you have to hit those picks, and Bears fans know they don't hit those picks.
Right.
It's usually a swing and a miss with what they do in the draft.
Yeah, poor Pete Carroll.
Yeah,
he's basically fired yesterday. Within a couple of hours, Nick Saban says, I'm going to retire. And then, again, earlier this morning, within the last 25 minutes, the news came out, Adam Schefter reporting that the Patriots and Bill Belichick are parting ways. We'll run down some of those odds again to be the next coach at Alabama coming up next year on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Start your morning with a daily dose of winning strategies, insider tips, and the latest buzz with the free VSiN Daily newsletter. Today, Steve Makinen goes through previous Super Bowl winners and sees if any team this year has similar characteristics and tries to look at a winner. Get expert analysis, latest odds delivered straight to your inbox, absolutely free. VSiN.com/newsletter to subscribe.
We're going to talk to Brett McMurphy from Action Network coming up in about 15 minutes. He obviously is a very good college football reporter. We'll get his thoughts on Saban, Alabama, what they could do next. He tweeted out last night that since Nick Saban has been the head coach with the Crimson Tide, the SEC has had a combined 54 coaches overall.
I think it's over now. I mean, we're never going to see a run like this maybe in sports again. I mean, football, absolutely. With what happened in New England
he did?
and what Saban did, yeah. So now they have that. Now Georgia found a good one in Kirby Smart, so that probably should continue. But this is welcome to the real world now, Alabama and SEC.
Yeah.
And again, for years, you stood on Alabama's shoulders and said you were tall. Now we're going to see what happens now with the SEC.
Well, I mean, every other school in that conference is rejoicing and they're partying. Meanwhile, it's like a funeral in Alabama.
Yeah. Now you made a good point during the break. So Dan Lanning is now 175 to be the next Alabama head coach.
He opened up plus $3.
Yeah. And still, there's a guy who used to work in Tuscaloosa that's now in Eugene, and he's saying, I have my sources, that he's already in Tuscaloosa. There's internet conjecture they're going to have an announcement in the next day. But how's that good? He went 0-2 against Washington. And when he does these fourth down shenanigans, when they're playing a big game, and he goes for it from like the 4-yard line, and it doesn't work. And okay, it's just going to be like, what are we doing here? Are we sure this is the guy? And the fan base is going to be nuts.
It's going to be like Lefty when he's leaving at the end of Casino.
That's right.
He's going to have to watch his car. Somebody's going to have to go start it for him. I'm joking about that, but I mean, if he does that over, and that's who he is, by the way.
Oh, he's not going to change.
Why would he?
No.
He's all of a sudden going to change who he has been as a head coach and what he learned, to be that aggressive when he took it to Oregon. I would not leave. Does he realize, honestly, I think he does, because he's talked about this before, but it's Phil Knight and Nike money at Oregon. Why would you want to replace Nick Saban?
Yeah.
That's potentially career suicide.
Don't you hire DeBoer, the guy who beat him twice this year? Now, Lanning has the Alabama connections and also was the DC at Georgia. So you could go that route too. But certainly it's – do you want Norvell?
I'm
Did
not
a great
sure.
job at – no?
He's good.
Well, Sal, you can have anyone you want.
Would you want Lane Kiffin?
No way.
He's plus 450.
No.
That
Absolutely
would not go well?
No, that is not a good fit. Not with his personality and what he's like. And how many big games has he won at Ole Miss? That's another one.
Yeah, but he's also...
It hasn't gone well when he's played Remember what he did?
It would be a step up, though, going from Ole Miss to Alabama. I mean, that's Captain Obvious here checking in.
Well, I just go back to he's still an immature guy. I like him. But this is disaster with the Raiders. Horrible fit. Disaster with USC. Now, he adapted and changed, too.
Right.
And he's become this offensive mind.
Well,
you remember the interview with CBS before the Alabama game. Get your popcorn ready.
Yeah, right.
And he takes the headset and he throws it in the air. I think they got shut out that game.
Probably did.
They lost by like 50 points.
Remember that game with Matt? Was it Matt Corral a couple years ago? He's going for it on fourth down.
In his own territory. Yeah, right.
So he's plus 450. Steve Sarkisian is 8-1.
Now, why would he leave Texas?
That's my thought as well. Because, and look, I mean, last night, as soon as this happened with Nick Saban, they had a top 10 wide receiver in the country who said, that's it for me, I'm decommitting. And Marlon Humphrey in the NFL, awesome player, went to Alabama. Of course, he tweeted out, I would have been in the transfer portal so fast as soon as Nick announced his retirement.
Yeah.
How many guys are going to want to leave Alabama? I think that's going to be something to monitor, obviously, in the next 2 weeks to a month.
Yeah, since you went down that route, how about if Lanning leaves? Dylan Gabriel just got there.
Yeah.
What? They have to get a new quarterback now. He's going to leave.
Well, can he go to Alabama with him then? Is that too many transfers? I mean, these guys are playing in their 7th year coming up, and they're with their 19th team, the way it seems.
Yeah, the Bowman kid was granted a 7th year.
7th year, sure.
Uh-huh.
So if Alabama does take a step back here coming up, let's assume they do for a second. What Kirby Smart has done now, obviously, is that that's the best program in the SEC now. They've overtaken Alabama. Who's going to be that team to step up and surpass Alabama as well and then challenge Georgia? To me, that would be Texas and Sarkisian. Mm-hmm. That would be the program.
Now, that's what I'm thinking. If I'm Sarkisian, I say I accept the challenge, and I'm loving this now. Yes, I moved to the SEC, but Saban just left. So I want to beat these guys now.
Sure,
This thing has opened up.
And again, Texas's brand is right there. I mean, I know what Saban did, but if you go back before Saban, which school was bigger? Well, let's see. Vince Young was at Texas winning a national championship. That was before Saban got there. So Texas's brand was bigger, and it's right there. It's one of the biggest in the entire country, obviously. If he stays there, why can't he? I mean, he can't get every recruit in the country as well. He can dominate at Texas. They have more money than anybody. So I think that Sark leaving Texas would also, again, because you're following the best college football coach of all time, I'd rather stay at Texas. Norvell is 10-1. Then you fall down the list a little bit here. DeBoer's 11. Sweeney is 12-1.
If you want to yell at me, go ahead. I don't care. My dad was an alcoholic. I'd be concerned about Sark. What if he pulls a Maltasante? That would concern me. You never know with the demons he's had. I don't think he's a good offensive coordinator either. I don't think he's this genius that people make him out to be. Again, they called him 7-win Sark at Washington. He was horrific as the OC of the Atlanta Falcons. Terrible. He had Julio Jones and
I would rather have him than Dabo Sweeney.
Well, okay.
I would rather have.
I don't even think the guy's on the radar, to be honest.
He should not be.
No,
he should not even be a consideration.
I totally agree with you. I don't think he is.
From what I heard, according to some reports last night, Bama students were chanting anybody but Dabo. Mm-hmm. They don't want the guy. Deion Sanders is 16-1.
Oh, that is outrageous now. Now, that's the worst one yet. Come on.
Yeah. he's had 1 year.
1 year? Yeah, 1 year. What? He won 5 games.
No, that's. I mean, his
it's
experience.
not like he went 10-2 at Colorado.
Right. His experience at this level did not go well in year number 1, and you think that he's going to replay. Give him a chance. Actually, that would be the wise move from Alabama, because that would last two years maybe, and then they can get the guy who's going to be the guy to follow Deion Sanders and not Nick Saban.
You think they'd hire an African American?
I haven't even really considered that, to be honest.
Okay. Others have. But that's not even come on, that's ridiculous.
Would you
not going to hire Deion Sanders?
Would you consider? I mean, would Meyer come out of retirement for this job? That's the one guy where the program doesn't fall off. That would be something if they could lure him out of retirement.
How many years does he have left, though?
Who knows? I mean, the guy has told us that he's been done multiple times already. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I mean, that could be 3 years. It could be 10. Depending on what day of the week we're talking.
That's not bad. What are the odds on him?
20-1. I mean, I have no idea if he wants to come back and coach, though.
Yeah.
I mean, it is.
Well, do you agree the list, it goes DeBoer, Lanning, or Lanning, DeBoer?
Oh, Lanning's got, I mean, what if that guy's accurate? The TV anchor who used to live in Tuscaloosa and work there, and now he's in Eugene. And he said that it's absolutely real. Lanning was in Tuscaloosa.
Well, follow the money. Follow the money. He's $1.75 favorite
minus 175 right now.
So
he was 3-1 last night.
If you believe these reports that they're going to be an announcement in the next day. I also read several like they were prepared for this, right? I mean, I read the quotes that they knew this day could happen, and you internet conjecture with the Rose Bowl that they thought this could happen, so they should be ready to go and had all these agents on speed dial and had it mapped out of who their small list of candidates would be of this, because you knew it was coming at some point. The guy couldn't coach forever, so it was probably. They had 3 or 4 guys, and we're going to throw you a ton of money. And Lanning's buyout $20 million. Oh,
well, that's a cup of coffee for Alabama.
But still, how did this? Yeah, but it goes back to Franklin, Charlie Weiss, all these guys. How did he get away with these astronomical buyouts? Now, the guy hasn't even won anything. He beat Liberty in a bowl game. Whoop-de-doo. And his buyout's $20 million. DeBoer's buyout's $12 million.
I can't even. Those numbers mean nothing to me because Jimbo Fisher's was $75 million.
Yeah.
So those are pennies on. That's nothing compared to him.
Well, that was a huge mistake.
The Fisher
that'll
one
never happen again. But that's,
right.
Yeah.
It should not. I love the way Saban did not need a victory tour. Did not need to take a lap for 1 full year. I mean, the guy's the best coach of our lifetime and of all time in college sports, and. For him to do that, the respect level even goes up a little bit more. That guy could have gone to any program in the country and turned him into a national title contender within a year and a half. That's how good he was. And now watch again what happens if they get the wrong guy here to follow him up.
The guy went 9-7 with Gus Frerotte in the NFL.
That's true.
People want to rip him for what happened in Miami. That's unfair. Totally unfair. He had Culpepper and Gus Frerotte.
Yeah, we'll talk to Brett McMurphy up next. We'll find out, get his thoughts on who's the best choice to follow him at Alabama.
Brett McMurphy in 2 seconds. DraftKings Sportsbook, official sports betting partner of the NFL playoffs. New customers can bet $5 on any game and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code VEGAS. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. Code VEGAS. All the props are up. Incredible menu. The crown is yours.
Yeah, the way this week is going, I fully expect news on Jim Harbaugh's next team or his future in the next probably 3 hours. Brett McMurphy joins the program now. If you're just tuning in, 45 minutes ago, we learned from Adam Schefter that Bill Belichick and the Patriots have parted ways. This is not even a full day after Nick Saban announced his retirement from the University of Alabama. Brett does a great job covering college football, reporting for Action Network. Brett, thanks for the time. Were you shocked yesterday, or were there some rumblings out there before this announcement that you maybe thought, you know what, this might have been Saban's last year at Alabama?
You know, there was the speculation, Mitch, but I was at the Rose Bowl. I was at the championship game. And people I talked to, said one assistant told me that Saban seemed a little bit more melancholy this season, but fully expected him to be back. In fact, the source told me that he'd interviewed 2 people for defensive coordinator positions in the last 24 hours. So
wow.
It seemed like he had made the decision to stay. He would stay there. And then, Wednesday they called a team meeting and he informed the team that this is it. And it kind of came suddenly. That's not a surprise. I didn't see Saban. He wasn't going to be one of these guys that says, hey, this year's my last year, and then plays out the whole season where everybody's honoring him with rocking chairs and stuff like that, what you see with some coaches. But yeah, it's amazing. Pete Carroll's done, Saban's done, now Belichick's done. A cool thing is back in, it was 1980, Saban was hired at Ohio State to be defensive backs coach. He replaced Bill Belichick, who left to go to NC State. Or excuse me,
Carroll.
He replaced Pete Carroll, who left to go to NC State. So they're kind of all tied together. Obviously, Saban and Belichick are very, very, very close friends. So it's weird that all 3 of these guys at the same time looks like will not be coaching football anymore.
Why do you think they'll have a coach ready to go and announced in less than maybe 48 hours?
Yeah, from the people I'm talking to, I think Alabama wants to move very quickly. I mean, Greg Byrne, Alabama's athletic director, it's not like he's been sitting around not thinking this day's going to come. So he's got an idea who he wants. And, with NIL, they've got to move quickly. I mean, Shadur Sanders, Colorado's quarterback, was on Twitter yesterday saying, yo, Alabama players, hit me up.
Mm-hmm.
They're already recruiting guys to leave. There were reports that, in the team meeting, they told the players, give us 72 hours before you make any decisions on your future. So they want to move quickly to get this done. Obviously, it takes 2 to tango. You got to get the other side on board.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no reason to draw this thing out for a week. I mean, they know who's out there. They know who they want. It's just, can they get the deal done?
So what do you make of this? I'm looking at an offshore website right now. They opened up next head coach Alabama, Dan Lanning, 3-1 last night. 5 minutes ago, Dan Lanning was minus 175. Brett, as I bring this up, he's now minus $3, and everybody has drifted out beyond him at least to 7-1. Is he going to be the guy?
I'd take a flyer on, what's my number for Mike Norvell? I'd take a flyer on him.
He's 10-1.
10-1. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure the limit on that's probably $5.
I'm guessing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, I reported yesterday, Lanning is the top target. I think it's, from people I talked to late last night, I think Norvell's a very real possibility too. I think it's one of those two. There's the buyout issues. I mean, Lanning's got a $20 million buyout. And there also is the question, of these guys may be the top targets, but how do these guys feel personally? Do you want to be the guy that follows the guy? Yeah. And this is the all-time greatest guy at Alabama, because anything less than a college football playoff final appearance is going to be a disappointment. Saban told a story a few years ago about how I think it was the year they lost the kick 6 and didn't make the playoff, and he's on vacation with his wife, and this old couple comes up in a diner and wants to take a picture with them, and he's like, sure. And as they're taking a picture, the woman's older than him, so she's probably in her 80s, and she grabs his arm and says, "It's all right, coach. Hopefully you can do better next season." And he's thinking to himself, we lost 1 game this year. What do you mean we can do better?
Yeah.
So, but that's the expectation at Alabama. And, the other thing is, real quick, is, Alabama, obviously one of the best programs in the country, hands down. But is that because of Nick Saban? Because before Saban younger folks don't remember, but before Saban got there, Alabama had 3 of the previous 4 seasons, they had non-winning seasons. Mm-hmm. They were not very good. And then Saban comes in. He's had winning seasons every year. 11th longest streak in college football history. More impressive, you guys. 15 consecutive years, Alabama was ranked number one at least once every season. That's never been done before. So expectations are off the charts.
He loved the ball. Do you have a favorite story that you like to tell about him?
Yeah, I mean, I wrote about it yesterday at Action Network. I've told this story a million times privately, but now that he's not coaching and tell it privately, I'll give you the short version. Basically, when Kirby Smart was defensive coordinator at Alabama, one Christmas morning, his cell phone rings and he looks at his phone and it's a blocked number. Anytime Saban calls somebody, it says blocked number because he blocks his number. So Kirby knew it was Saban. He says hello, and Nick's like, Kirby, I need you to call the home phone. Call the home phone in an hour, okay? Just call the home phone. Kirby's okay. So he hangs up, goes back to playing with or spending time with his family on Christmas. An hour goes by. Kirby calls the home phone. Saban's wife answers and says, "Hey, Kirby, Merry Christmas." He's like, "Hey, Miss Terry, can I talk to Coach?" And she's like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Tell everyone Merry Christmas." He's like, "All right." She hands the phone to Saban. Kirby does not say one word. And Saban goes, "Hello? What? No, you're kidding me. Nope, you did the right thing. Stop apologizing. Look, I don't like it either. I know it's Christmas. I know we got to handle it. Okay, I got it. Yep, I'll see you up at the office. Okay, bye." Hangs up. He was so overwhelmed by his in-laws on Christmas, he wanted to get the hell out of there. So he went up to the football office on Christmas morning. So one of the times I told this story to a group, one of the guys in the group was a former Alabama staffer, and I get done telling the story, and everyone reacts like you guys did, and he says, "Are you going to finish the story?" And I said, "What? There's more?" And he goes, "Yeah." I go, "Well, what's the rest of the story? I don't know that part." Later that day, Saban, I guess, was tired of being up there by himself, so he called in the entire staff to come up there and work with him on Christmas morning. So that's why, you guys, I thought he would never retire, because football is his life, and he is the most demanding, hardest working coach in college football. And if you see him talk, he talks about good is the enemy of great. If you're satisfied with being good, you'll never be great. And because he demanded that much of himself, he demanded that of the assistants he worked with, and that's why you would see some turnover. It's not easy to do that. But ultimately, he is the greatest coach of all time in college football. I think he's on the Mount Rushmore of greatest coaches of all time by his accomplishments. And, that's just a little insight of what drove him to such greatness. He's been amazing. And you know what's funny? As great as we say he is, I think when we get 2 or 3 years down the road, I think we'll look back and appreciate what he accomplished even more.
I mean, very good chances here, Brett, that we're never going to see it ever again with him and Belichick. I mean, the odds are we could live another 100 years and not get this in either college football or the NFL.
Yeah, and the thing is, they are very close. They work together, with the Cleveland Browns. Saban told me a story when he was with the Browns. I was talking to him about his favorite musical acts, and he mentioned that he remembered going to see the Eagles live at Cleveland Stadium with Bill Belichick back in the day. Imagine what that would have been like.
Yeah, no kidding. Great stuff today, Brett. Thanks so much for the time. We really appreciate that.
You got it, guys. Good to talk to you.
You can follow Brett
Thanks,
on X. He's at Brett_McMurphy, and he does a great job covering college football for Action Network, and you can read that story there as well.
That story's an A+.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's also that one story that came out.
Overwhelmed from the in-laws, can't
For sure. He, according to his one golf buddy,
Oh, right.
he hated the fact that he was playing in the national title.
Yeah.
Because he was going to miss out on recruiting for the next year.